Welcome to the Passive Prospecting Live today on this Tuesday, and it's been a couple of weeks. I've been traveling around all over the world. It seems like, but different time zones. There are two of them. There should be a second one. Thank you. Traveling all over the time zones. Had to print a copy of my driver's license, and it printed out like full page. I don't want to show all of that on there, but anyways, so man, it has been quite the travel season, you can say. But finally got a break for the rest of the year. Don't have any speaking events scheduled out, and that's one of the most challenging things: maintaining the schedule, maintaining consistency. Although still have published content on the real estate channel this entire time, but I'm going to be increasing content now that I'm at home and not traveling, at least nothing on the books. I might do a little weekend getaway or something here or there, especially for the holidays, but otherwise plan to just stay local, get caught back up on some content, get ahead on content, because this is something that we always talk about, is being ahead on your content because of these types of things happening: life, real estate, family, travel. And for me, being on the road seems like every other week. I mean, last week I did 2 events, but one was in Atlanta. Luckily, one was in Dallas. But I think last month, we're in DC, Denver, and then Oregon. I mean, that was like week after week. And that was after EXP Con. I was in EXP Con for 3 days, spoke twice there, spoke at WealthCon, and then had a dinner with Gary V and Bradley and these other guys here in Dallas on Friday. So that was a full week. Turned around, went to Denver, then turned around, went to DC, then turned around, went to Oregon, then turned around, went to Atlanta, and did a conference this weekend here in Dallas. Spoke at an investor conference. So that was just the last 6 weeks. Crazy, but still continued to publish content. And that is something that always make time for. It's a non-negotiable. I was part of a real estate group this morning, and I listen in a little real estate mastermind every morning from 7 to 8. Usually 7 to 8 a.m. is whenever I get ready in the morning. So, cleaning up the beard, taking a shower, brushing the teeth, and I would try to listen to audiobooks or podcasts, but I would typically get distracted, or I just don't catch everything. So if you're going to listen to an audiobook or a podcast, I like to be in a position to where I can mostly concentrate on that. But otherwise, listening in on this group talk this morning, and they were talking about non-negotiables. And, one of the agents was talking about their non-negotiable, about like making their calls. And that's something that, of course, we talk about being in the active prospecting world. You've got to make your calls, right? You've got to lead generate one way or another. You have to lead generate in some form or fashion. If you're going to do it through your efforts, that's going to be through calling, meeting people, conversations, content is the main thing. You can also pay for ads, but again, that's, I think, a lower quality type of person, and can also be a lot further out. So, the main thing is that in this market right now, we're going to touch a little bit on this NAR lawsuit, right? I mean, it's kind of like all the talk in the real estate world right now. But we're not actually going to spend too much time on this because for me, it's going to be business as usual. And it's something that I just want to kind of touch base on real quick because it has come up. The questions have come up a little bit in our group, in some of our trainings. And, so I just wanted to address a couple of things. What's funny, the irony of the whole aspect of this is the lawyer, right? The lawyer that brought this or is, led this charged was, the whole argument was price fixing or conspiring on commissions, right? Because that's what we do. We conspire behind the scenes for that usual 5 or 6%, right? Every single time. I mean, we're always conspiring, right? That's why commission rates go from 7 or 9 or 10 or 12%. No, they're practically always 6%. That's typically the standard. Now, I've only seen them ever go 1% higher or lower than that. So I have seen 7% interest, or not interest rates, 7% commission rates, and that's on the listing agent. If they negotiate that, then they are clearly articulating a very good proposition for that seller to be able to get 7% out of them. Or sometimes they'll negotiate down to 5 or 4%. And other than that, I've never seen them go over 7%. So this whole idea of price fixing and conspiring and things like that is just really absurd, I think. But for a lawyer to argue that case is laughable, because we know how much lawyer fees are. And I believe I've heard two different numbers, though, is that this lawyer made between 33 to 40%, right? And that's the typical lawyer fee, especially if they take on this type of suit that has a large opportunity for commission payouts, or what would be damages and payouts. That's what it would be. Well, the thing is that his percentage was 33 to 40%. Now, does anybody think that's ironic or that's interesting that they would complain about us making? Why didn't they take 6%, right? Why didn't the lawyer take 6%? Or if 6% is such a terrible fee, why didn't he take 5 or 4 or 3% of the judgment? Why is his fee going to be 33 to 40% of this judgment, especially of last time I checked, nobody's selling a $1.8 billion house, but he can argue for damages of 1.8 billion and then take 33 to 40% of that. So, that in itself to me is just laughable. And for him to be on TV and these interviews talking about we're the ones that are conspiring on commissions, I think is laughable. But here's the thing. Regardless of what happens, this is what I kind of wanted to touch base on today, is that it is what it is. So now, we always talk about things we can control and things we can't control. This is something that we cannot control at all whatsoever. We have to work past this. What's done is done. The judgment is there now. If NAR decides to fight this or appeal this or whatever the case may be, this could be tied up in the court system for some time to come. Who knows? But will it make an effect on commissions, or are buyer agents going to go away? I don't know. The funny thing is that for those of you that don't know, is I believe Seattle, right? Seattle area or Washington State as a whole. It's either Seattle, the Metro Seattle, or Washington did this, I think, in 2019. They kind of made this rule in this law, but people are still transacting in Seattle, right? They're still buyers agents in Seattle. So if you look at the model of what they're talking about here, this has already happened in that area. Maybe a couple of other places around the US I'm not aware of, but Seattle is one of them, I think, that went into place in 2019. So again, I think the wording, now New York was talking about this as well. And in New York, they're just going to be switching some wording around. Again, now that's just going to be finagling of the words. They're just going to switch that around so that it just sounds different. And so it's really going to be kind of like the one and the same. So for all the noise and all the mess out there is, I don't know. The thing is for us, it's going to be business as usual. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing until it is set in stone. Things have happened until buyers agents are completely cut out of the picture. But that doesn't mean we don't want to plan accordingly. And if you are concerned about that and you're more buyer heavy, then you want to make sure you're creating content and shifting content towards listings and your listing strategy. We cover that quite extensively, especially through our program on listing videos. And I think they're very important. And I think that's something you want to add in. Now, how you make that listing video evergreen or more relevant than just trying to feature a property, that's where the art comes in, right? That's where the creativity comes in. So, that would be something that if you're not focusing on listings on your channel, it's definitely worth a playlist. And if you don't have listings, then you'll want to leverage some of your relationships and partnerships and things like that to where maybe you can film some listings and then you can show people what you can do for their property. So when you go on a listing presentation, you'll have that documentation or, that video ready to go to be able to show somebody what you're capable of doing and how you can market their property. So that would be something. Sorry, something's in my mouth. So the thing is that That's what it is. Now, the other thing here that we want to talk about is that the reality is most clients, most people out there in the real estate, not in the real estate world, have heard absolutely nothing about this. Okay, so how we decide to present this, or if we bring this up, or if if you ask one of your clients right now, hey, have you seen what's going down with NAR? First of all, they might say NAR. What is NAR anyways? Most of them have no clue what NAR is, or even that there is a National Association of Realtors. They don't know these types of things. The average consumer, the average client, just doesn't know these types of things. So if we don't bring it to their attention and say and bring that up, then again, it's probably not going to be a topic of discussion. As far as we know right now, nothing's changing for us in Texas as of this moment. Again, thank you. A little bit bigger than I wanted, but yeah. So the thing is that I wouldn't be bringing that to anybody's attention. I would be focused on business as usual. And the other aspect of this is that I know with the types of clients that we have that come in from our channel, that if this were to happen and commissions were to go away on the buy side, then we have a much better chance of getting that from our clients than, any other type of client out there. Now, if you're running ads or something like that, or if you're working with friends and family may push back if you ask them to pay a fee, right? Paid ads, you're going to have clients that, probably push back on that. But the people that call us from our channels, for those of you out there that have your channels, have them established, you started receiving calls, you started closing deals, you started having those type of opportunities, what type of clients we work with. They're the best. And so if we're going to ask them for money or to pay our fee because that relationship is already established, then we're going to be in a pretty good position if something like that were to happen. So overall right now, for me, it's and for us in our business and our company, it's going to be business as usual. We're not going to be bringing this up to clients or asking them, hey, did you hear about this? Again, most of them have never even heard of NAR or the National Association of Realtors, or that any type of lawsuit, was pending. Now, I don't know for the brokerages that are involved if they will have to disclose something, so I can't really speak to that. So all I can speak to is what we're experiencing. And as of right now, our brokerage is not. Was not involved in that first one. And I know that they turned around as soon as that lawsuit was, the verdict came in, they turned around and filed another lawsuit. And so that's interesting, right? And nothing going on there. Anyways, we know how lawyers are anyways. But the thing is that business as usual, I'm going to be working on creating more content now that I'm settled back in, not traveling here for a couple of months, which I'm thankful for. Going to reset on my health, reset on the business, reset on, getting ready for 2024. We already have some things in 2024 coming and working on, but now this will be a good time to sit down and take a little time for that. And, that's what I'm looking forward to. So for me, this is all really a bunch of noise. I haven't even really followed the whole thing. I just watched on the sidelines here or there, listened to some other commentary and some information. But otherwise, for me, it didn't matter until the verdict happened. But now that the verdict happened, again, it's going back to, I can't control that. I can't control what happens. I can't control what happens in my market. But if I want to plan accordingly, listing content, I want to focus on that. If I want to keep a YouTube channel going, you could still do it through neighborhood as well, but you might want to incorporate neighborhood with your listing videos, and that could be an option for you there. And, creating more content, especially in this market. We've been over 7% interest rates this entire year, but yet we're still doing a lot of business. We've still closed we're approaching $1.5 million in GCI just from the channel this year in this type of market. So that tells me if interest rates were down or the way they were in the first half of 2022, we'd probably be at 3, maybe even 3.5 million this year. I know that. And everybody I talk to, transactions are down regardless across the board, no matter what market you're in. And most everybody's kind of running even with what they did last year, except for those transactions that are missing. So that's kind of what they're, if the same amount of transactions were in the market as they were last year, most people I know, we'd be running even, breaking even with what they produced last year. So there's definitely some opportunities in there. Let's go over to some questions or comments, see if we got anything in here. And then, let's see. What's up? Chrissy's finally here. What's up, Chrissy?
What's going on?
Oh, not much. Let me see here what we got here. Hey, Levi, I'm Sindhu, Memphis, Tennessee realtor. Okay. Good to see me after a long time. Yep. It's, well, I don't know. It's been a couple of weeks maybe since we've been on here. Let me see. Do you mean to say that buyer's agents are 100% going? No, I'm not saying that at all. So I'm definitely not saying that. I'm just saying that we need to do business as usual, continue to work towards, the goals we want to achieve. Now, if you want to start planning, if you're really that concerned about it, then you might want to start moving in the, Chrissy, I think you got some feedback coming through.
Oh, sorry about that. It was probably my Slack notifications. I'll mute myself.
Is there anything you wanted to add into on the lawsuit? Have you followed it much or?
Well, I mean, we just, at this last event, we had someone from our organization come out and talk about what they're doing to prepare for it. I think a lot of brokers and agencies are starting to plan for what would need to happen if there was a ruling that affected buyers, agents specifically. But, that was the reassurance. I've seen this from pretty much every big organization that's come out about it. Sounds like there's appeals and discussions still happening. So really nothing is set in stone. And changes are going to take probably a couple of years. You know how the legal process is. Nothing gets done overnight. So it's not like tomorrow you're going to wake up and all of a sudden buyers agents have to, do roundabout things to get a commission. This is going to take a long time to figure out. So something to prepare for, but not anything to panic over at the moment.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not saying buyers agents are going away. That's not the case, at least not for right now. But again, I'm saying that if you look at a market in Seattle, I wonder if we got any Seattle people on here, if they can chime in. Probably should have reached out to Austin, see what I guess Tacoma would be a part of Seattle. It might be interesting to see because I believe they've already gone to this type of model or made this type of ruling in 2019 on a local level. But, there's still buyer's agents working there. Of course, Austin's got a pretty good YouTube channel working for him there. So he's able to do that as well. So, but no, I don't think you need to take any type of videos down. I wouldn't recommend that at all. So I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, even if this were to happen, I mean, I still wouldn't take those. I mean, the thing is that, look, buyer's agents go away if buyer's agents go away. I mean, nobody's going to say, okay, you can't, nobody's allowed to be a buyer's agent. If they try to stipulate that you can't earn commission, I mean, that's from the sell side. Well, then guess what? You're going to have to work that out with the buyer. You can still have a conversation with them. So, and I believe that having a YouTube channel gives you the best opportunity. Somebody's going to build a relationship with you, want to work with you, and you're going to have that consultation. And in that consultation, most of the time, most everybody always says, oh, no, you get to work with me for free. Well, I mean, that really isn't the case. The way, I mean, look, they're paying for it. I mean, it's just kind of like getting built into the purchase price of the home, really, the loan overall, because that seller is going to mark up that price to make sure that those commissions are taking out of the sell of their price anyways. And they're netting a certain amount. They want to make sure that they're netting a certain amount. So they're already factoring in for that. But if they're selling that house for, $400,000, doesn't mean they're going to net $400,000. And if they have to pay $12,000 in commissions out of that, they're factoring for that. But that's why they price the home at $400,000. And I mean, the appraisal, typically will come back at or around the purchase price. They don't factor in commissions and say, oh, we got to remove commissions from this. And then, because then that's what would create buyers to really have to pay for that. But otherwise, buyers going to get a loan on that $400,000 or they're going to put, let's say, $40,000 down and get a loan on $360,000. And so technically you would look at that their down payment, whatever the case may be, is really kind of paying for that commission in the first place. So the way I see it, buyers have always paid that commission regardless. They just don't feel like they're taking the hit on that. But still, if they have to pay, then you're going to have that conversation with them. And, will it be a straight 3%? I don't know. You might negotiate 2.5% or 2%. It just depends, especially on their budget and what they're working with. So they have to make those determinations when they come around. But again, I'm not seeing this take place anytime soon. And I would just keep generating as much business as possible.
Well, and it sounds like too, just from the discussions that I've heard too, it sounds like a lot of it's going to be legal jargon that's going to have to change in contracts because, part of the concern is that, people are being steered away from homes based on commission. Like if a buyer's agent was getting 2.5% versus 3%, if that would affect whether or not they would show that home to the buyer. So I think there's going to be a lot of legal jargon that's going to have to change. But I think that's going to change more dramatically than anything else is the way that perhaps the way that a buyer agent is paid and, what needs to be disclosed during that process.
Well, and that's what they're doing in New York. I mean, New York, they're just kind of rearranging the wording on there. So again, it's like, are the buyer commissions really going away, or is the seller not paying them, or are they just changing up the wording to make it all look the way they want it to look? I don't know. This is what happens when you get lawyers and politicians and everybody else involved. It's just turns into a legal word salad. And I mean, don't you just love reading contracts? I mean, isn't that just amazing when you can read a contract and you just understand every single thing that's mentioned in that contract? Oh yeah, it's wonderful, right? And it's 25 pages long. Yes. Well, lawyers make the world a better place, right? It's funny. I got into a contract dispute several years ago, and I had 3 different lawyers read that contract, and 3 different lawyers gave me 3 different opinions of what that contract meant and how it worded. And you ever notice when you talk to a lawyer these days, they never really even give you a straight answer. It's just, I'm like, wait a second, aren't you supposed to tell me, should I or shouldn't I? And they still never really want to give you a straight answer. So let's see here. Who's this? Dallas Fort Worth living, huh? We got a local person. I agree 100% business as usual. For the most folks not in the business won't know about the NAR lawsuit. I'll cross that bridge and if and when it actually happens. Well, we got some people behind stage, Christy. Did we give out the behind the scenes? Is it Micah? Did you want to come up and have a chat?
I didn't say hey.
You have to show me a thumbs up if you want to come up, Micah. Oh, all right.
Yeah, I'm not unconcerned. You see this stuff, and I've seen governments wreck industries in the past, so it's always possible. On the other hand, I feel like I'm just getting my channel started right now, and it would be a great time to quit, but it's also a great time to double down. And it would be stupid to me. It would be stupid to not double down, because I feel like no matter what happens, I'm going to be better off, with a successful channel. If I have to pivot, I'd be better off pivoting with a successful channel. If I don't have to pivot, if it's just a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo, then I'll be fine. It'll be no problem. And if we do have to deliver more value, having a channel I'll be able to do that better than anyone else or most people. So I'm not losing sleep over the NAR thing. I'm not unconcerned. I do read the articles, but nobody knows where it's going. Everybody's panicking. I see that the marketers are using scare tactics in their advertising now, the coaches and the consultants that are selling programs, and I'm just not afraid of it. Whatever happens, happens. I don't care.
Yeah. Do you want to introduce yourself, Micah?
Yeah, I'm Micah Bleacher. I'm in Las Vegas. I'm just getting started. just about ready to go out and start shooting videos. So I'm down to my last 2 or 3 excuses not to, and they're running thin, and so I'm just going to have to get out there and do it, or Archie's going to put a beating on me.
There you go.
So,
and you'll find once you get out there, it's not so bad after all.
No, I got my channel intro done. I'm getting things done. I've been working with Maya Dottie. She's amazing. I've been doing all kinds of things, but you know, at some point I'm going to have to get out there and start shooting and creating content. And I'm really excited because I've been a content creator for many years, and I just kind of missed the whole video thing. And I'm excited to finally get on board that train.
There you go. Let's see. Is it, would you say that Shirami? Maybe. Is that Shirami? How is the wording being rearranged there in New York, I think is what she's talking about. I'd have to find the specific article. I saw it the other day and I should have saved that, but let me see. I'm just trying to do a quick search and see if, yeah, I don't know. It was just, you know, I don't know. You might want to Google New York and buyer's agent commissions or something like that. There was just an article I read, and they're just rearranging the wording again. It's just kind of like a different spin on it. So it still looks like the sellers are going to, you know, it still looks like the sellers are paying the commission. This whole thing's a mess. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. So, let's see. Diana says, I'm licensed in DC, Maryland, and the realtors here are doing business as usual. My brokerage has made us alert and discuss pivoting. Yeah. Share me. Okay. Share me. Cool. So what's the background of that? Share me. That's a very unique name. Yeah, I'm not sure. We just have to Google. You have to Google that, look it up, see if you can find it. I just tried to Google it. It's lost in a bunch of articles. So I came across that and I should have saved it, but it is what it is. Again, I think going back to what Micah said, good point. We just have to go through business as usual. Having the channel right now too. I mean, this is something, you know, lead flow. Is it down a little bit? Yeah, of course. Well, although it picked back up, it's like rates dropped, you know, 1.5% here. And then all of a sudden it just seems like everyone's like, oh, 7.5%. That's not bad anymore. Let's ring the phone. Let's pick up the phone. So we had, you know, a few extra leads come in this last week, just with a little bit of that change. And we know there's so much demand on the sidelines. And, you know, and that's the thing is that these rates drop. They could get back to 6.5 or 6%. And people are probably going to be like, all right, you know what? That's not so bad. Even though 6% last year seemed terrible, right? Nobody wanted, and now everyone's saying, yeah, if we can get back to 6%, I think I'll pull the trigger. So we're going to see an influx come back into the market. It's going to be interesting on that side of it, but you want to be positioned with your channel as best as possible, because even if you're starting out right now, it may be a little bit more quieter as far as the phone ringing in the beginning, but you want to build that momentum, because things are going to, rates are going to come down. And especially think about election next year, who knows what's going to happen on that side of it. But, you know, if they want to incentivize or, you know, stimulate the housing market in some way, maybe they want it to keep coming down. I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens on that side of it. But we know some more drops. So we get in a 6.5, 6%. That will seem very, very intriguing for a lot of people, as to where last year it seemed absurd. I would never pay 6%. Now they're thinking, yep, that's not so bad. So what feeling are you getting there in Las Vegas, Micah? What you seeing? You got a lot of people hanging out on the sidelines?
Oh yeah, sidelines are a popular place right now. But as soon as one thing happens, I mean, we've got people just waiting to make moves. If the market, you know, just drops a little bit, I've got people waiting for crashes to happen, which I don't think will. And I've got people waiting for things to drop, the interest rate. You know, my first home I bought in 1984 in Spring, Texas. And my interest rate was 10%. And it was the best deal available, because at the time they were 18%. You couldn't get fixed rate, only adjustable rate. So I got a VA loan because I bought a VA foreclosure. And so we're not going to see a massive amount of foreclosures unless people start losing jobs. If that happens, then we're going to see a lot of problems, and then people are not going to buy houses. So if the overall economy goes way, way down and people start losing their jobs, then it's going to be tough for everyone in every industry. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
Are you seeing a lot of job loss in Vegas?
No, we're seeing demand for everything right now, and the demographics in Las Vegas are changing. The people that are moving in have more money. They have more purchasing power. It's becoming more affluent. It's, you know, there's a limited amount of land in Las Vegas. It's not like other markets where you have these feeder cities that go out for miles and miles. There's a limited amount of space in Las Vegas. So whatever land is here is becoming more and more valuable. The little bit of growth is going out north and south along the highways, but they can't really go into the mountains beyond there. So
yeah,
it's an interesting market, but we'll just see what happens. Right now, it's kind of dead in some ways. Not a lot of people are selling. People are holding on to these houses.
And look at this. NAR finds typical home buyers' annual household income climbed to record high of $107,000. That's up from $88,000. That's a 22% increase, the largest on record. So, you know, I found this interesting. This just came out, and here, you know, people are complaining about, I don't know, I want to say complaining. The narrative is around home affordability, right? Home prices are way too high. Nobody can afford it. But then wait a second, 22% increase in household income. I mean, this is the thing. I know the people that we're dealing with, and we're dealing with business owners not struggling right now. Most of them have really good businesses, or we're dealing with dual income families, which are in the 6-figure range and things like that. And I don't know, you know, it's just interesting that, you know, the people we're dealing with right now, and this is something I think I'm going to talk about on our live stream on our real estate channel tonight, is well, first of all, it's seasonality right now. So we're going to see some typical price drops like we see, you know, every season. But these price drops are still going to be at a point to where if you look at them compared to last year, the pricing is still probably going to be higher than last year, or if not even. So really, if you're thinking about buying, you know, probably the next 4 to 5 months would be the ideal time. Plus, it's, even though inventory is low and technically it's a seller's market, it's really like a buyer's market at the same time, because there's inventory to choose from, or limited inventory, I would say. But if you find something you like, if it's priced correctly, well, you may have a little bit of negotiating room. But we're still seeing some multiple offers on a few properties. But also, new construction right now is, I think, where you're seeing some of these price reductions are on a lot of these older homes, you know, that typically, you know, weren't really that big of a problem. But with the new construction, especially in Dallas area, where, you know, we can continually expand outward and we're not waterlocked or landlocked, and these new construction communities can keep popping up, and they're bringing down prices. You know, they move 5 minutes more out of town and they can bring those prices down. So, but same with Dallas, we get people moving here from much more expensive areas, selling much more expensive homes, coming in with equity, coming in with solid businesses, working. They've got solid jobs, they're dual incomes, and so, you know, at least that's who we're attracting through the channel, you know. And we've come out with a few videos recently, especially on $200,000 priced homes, $216,000 for new construction, and we still haven't. I don't think we've gotten a single call of somebody saying, "Hey, get me into that $216,000 house." Everyone that we're still averaging, our price point is around $575,000 is our average client price. So it's just interesting to see, you know, the narrative that's out there. But then whenever you compare it to your business or hyper local business, I don't know. It's just all the agents I'm speaking with, even around the country, they're like, I don't know. I'm still getting phone calls. You know, people are still making some moves, and maybe that's because I tend to work with a lot of the more diligent agents, we should say, you know, working and keeping up with their business and those types of things, especially working on YouTube channels. I mean, is it slowed down a little bit? Yeah, but we still got people in the mix and, you know, making moves there. So that's interesting to see that article that just came out from NAR, and a 22% increase. I mean, that is massive from, for income for families. That's a big deal, because what was the article? They're saying the average home price now across America was out of reach, and that was based on the old household income. But now this is going to bring the average income right in a line with the national average of the median home price as well, which was what, $400,000. And they're saying, I think you had to earn $114,000 or something like that. Did you see that recently, Micah? Is that, I don't know if you saw that, but
yeah, I mean, we're seeing locally, we're seeing, well, back in 2010, when the last crash happened, we were seeing lower income people moving into the Las Vegas Valley. Now we're seeing people with incomes 50% higher than the average moving in. So it's a much more affluent crowd. And in fact, in planning out my videos, I'm not really going after the low end market. I'm going to stay. I mean, my background is in luxury anyway, but I'm going to stay at the higher end, because I think that's where people are, more established people are making moves.
Well, the good thing about
doing what they need to do.
Yeah, the good thing about that is, guess what? Wealthy people, people that are in the higher income brackets, they don't experience recessions typically, right? Unless they've got some business that is completely affected by a recession or a down market. Typically, people that are in good positions financially know how to take advantage and how to navigate these types of markets. But yeah, that's right. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not recommending anybody do that. We're always experimenting on the channel. And so it was something that I was wondering, hey, this narrative of home affordability, and is that the truth, right? And so I can't say that anybody has rang our phone and said, man, thank God you put out that video on $215,000 3-bedroom, 2-bath, new construction properties. I would love to get in one of those because I can't afford anything else. It just hasn't happened. They're getting good views on those videos, some interesting comments, but still people are calling us and they're like, my budget's 600, 700, 800, 900. I mean, we're working with more $1 million buyers right now than ever. And those people, they're like, yeah, interest rates, no, not really concerned about it. And so market, no, not really concerned about it. They know that the move is going to be good for them long-term, or for their business, or, they're going to be able to save more money in taxes, or in their business, or in their personal income. I mean, so there's all these different factors that they're just not really concerned about that. So the ones in the higher income brackets typically don't experience every fluctuation of the market like some people do. So it's a good point. Yeah, I would stick with what you want to focus on and what you want to do. It's French. All right. Cher ami, right? I think cher ami. French means my dear friend. Interesting. All right. What's up, California? Here in LA, we're seeing homes going back on the market because buyers can't perform. Prices are coming down as well, and homes are sitting longer on the market, 60 plus days. Yeah, I wonder, is that the case for existing homes? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if in LA they have new construction communities. I'm just speaking about Dallas, but I'm meeting with these builders, having conversations. A lot of these builders only releasing a couple of lots at a time. They're doing price increases. I mean, it's interesting. The demand for the new construction here in Dallas is still significantly higher up there. So that's actually what I'm going to be looking into after this call. Is I'm going to be digging into the price reductions and see if there's a correlation to age of the home. So if we're looking at 70s ranch style homes, 80s or 90s, all these homes that were built in the 90s and early 2000s, those I'm going to assume, but again, I will confirm that those are going to be the ones with the biggest price reductions. And that's because it seems like everyone that's calling us right now wants new construction. Nobody's calling us and saying, hey, yeah, let's find a good, I want a fixer upper. I mean, nobody's saying that. And plus the millennials are the biggest buying generation right now out there. And the millennials, I don't know if they like anything really used. I mean, they want everything new. And so I just don't think they want to be in these older homes. and they're going after these new construction deals. So let's see here. How's new construction? Y'all have a lot of communities in Vegas, Micah? A lot of communities?
There's a lot of new construction. Most of it's around the edges. Like I said, the land is short here. So there are some small communities that are kind of in the middle of Las Vegas, just some one-offs where they've had a little bit of extra land that wasn't purchased yet. But most of the new builds are along the edges. You're seeing some in Summerlin. In fact, Summerlin is still, that's only about 70% built out. So it's about 30% left, and that'll probably take 10 or 20 years to build out, according to Summerlin. And so there's new home projects. There's projects way in the south, towards California, on the edge of town, Inspirada, where there's new building going on there all the time. It's really popular. I mean, I think the homes are kind of expensive for what you get, and so the builders are able to buy money in large blocks, and then they're able to buy down the rate, because I think they're kind of overcharging a little bit. It's just math, right? If you take, if you carry the one, you got to carry it somewhere. So, but it's still attractive to people because they're getting in at lower rates when the builders are buying that down. So people like that. And then right now, inflation has hurt the remodeling market because people kind of don't want to do that so much, because it's more expensive than it used to be. And so I think for that reason, the new homes are attractive, even though when you go into them, you've got a punch list, 5 pages long of things that need to be fixed. And there's, landscaping is pretty sparse, and, it takes years to kind of finish off a neighborhood.
Yeah. Mike, he says, this is Mike. Mike says, I still have had multiple offers on a Plano home and 2 in North Fort Worth, priced in the high 300s. Yep. Feel like business has still been steady. I mean, that's exactly what we're seeing. And I talked to other agents here in Dallas, and they're kind of seeing the same thing. Emily, that's Emily, right? Is that Emily? Yeah. New construction is not a big thing in SoCal. Yeah. It's all old homes or flipped homes. Yep. And that's the tricky thing, flipping the homes right now, especially, I mean, you pretty much know what you're getting now with interest rates, but yeah, if you bought a house at 5 and worked on that, and then you turn around and interest rates are 8, that's a problem. So that makes it an issue for investors for sure. So, overall, I would just wrap it up today with you just got to get to work. That's what it really comes down to. You got to get to work. There's so many factors. You can't change anything you shouldn't worry about anything you can't change. I mean, I know that's easy to say, and we all have our anxieties and we all have our concerns about things that we can't change, but really it's one of those things where you just got to get back to work. And if you work so much, somebody actually said this. I was speaking in Atlanta last week, and somebody from the crowd was like, let's get rid of NAR. Are we going to get rid of NAR? Are we going to get rid of the fees and all of that stuff? I hate paying the fees to NAR. And it's like, okay, yeah, I get that. But again, something I can't control. My response for that, this was part of the panel portion. And, my response was, look, make so much money that fees don't matter. And if they get rid of them, then, hey, that's a little bonus. But otherwise, the fees are the fees, just kind of like toll tags and toll roads. I mean, I'm not sitting there calculating a budget for tolls. It's a necessary expense for me to have the convenience and get around Dallas a lot faster. And so, is it going to cost me $50 one month, $80 the other month, $100 the next month? Yeah, probably so. But it's one of those things where I'm going to make the money that those types of things don't bother me. I don't even know what my NAR fees are. It's on auto payment. And I don't even check most of the time what's charged on that. We just, to the credit card, we just pay it off each month. That's not good. I don't recommend that. You should definitely go in there and audit once in a while. And I think I did do a little audit 2 months ago. And that's good to be sure that you cut out, things you're getting charged for, things that should have been canceled, subscriptions you no longer need. So you should always be doing an audit, I would say at least every other month or so on your cards. But I don't know what my NAR fees are. I don't know what my MLS fees are. I know they're a couple $100, I think, a quarter, but that's about it. I'm I'm happy to be doing business as an agent and happy that I have a channel that generates a lot of business. And so those types of things are just not an issue for me. Our brokerage charges $85 a month for a technology fee. Okay. Don't care. Now that's a big deal to other people, but that's because, they're not making the money to wipe out that concern. So, money doesn't solve everything, but it does solve a lot of money problems. So that's one thing for sure. So that's just something to keep in mind. I would just continue. Oh, thank you. Very kind of you. Thank you. Yep. So that's it. Just got to, do better. And, that's what we're going to be focusing on our lives on the real estate channel. Going back to Tuesday nights, we always turn over business from that. So that's something that I think is very, beneficial to do, especially with the things that are changing week to week. Again, I wouldn't be talking about this on my live. I'm going to talk about things that are positive, good things that are happening in the Dallas area and the Dallas market. And we'll focus on that. And we always get 3 or 4 calls the next day straight from our live stream. So it's a great way just to connect with people, answer questions, and generate some business. And then from there, we plan to, get an office video and a neighborhood video out each week as well. So that way we can increase, get back to 3 pieces of content. I just think in this type of market, I want to be as visible as possible. And I think the most visible agent is going to win. And if you're not making videos, then you need to be visible on the phones. You need to be visible at networking events. You need to be visible at open houses. Whatever is your primary lead generation, you should probably do more of it right now, just to weather this storm right now. But I think it is navigable. Is that a word? Navigable? I don't know. It's navigatable. Is that the word? Huh?
It's navigable.
Is it? Is that?
Yeah, I'm sure it is a word. You come up with these words, and I'm like, that's not a word. And then we go and look up, and it is a word.
You're the word snob, so you have to let me know if navigable.
It's probably right next to listicles in the dictionary. So
that was a word, wasn't it?
It was a word. That's what I'm saying. It's right next to listicles. So
navigable. Yeah, the market's navigable. So you just got to be a good captain, And if you're not a great captain, make sure you've got some good deck hands around you. All right. So that's all it is. Where I'm just going to put in some extra work. Again, I'm not traveling, so that's time for me, and I'm looking forward to it. So, Micah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to always be here.
There you go.
Always excited.
I like this. I like getting a little perspective from a different market, and it's good. That way I don't have to – anything you want to close out with, Chrissy? Anything you wanted to add in?
Nah, nothing good is born out of fear. That's what I think. And if you're operating your business from a place of fear, you're probably going to land on your face. So if you go at it with that abundance mindset that we always talk about, there's always a solution. And so even if things change, there's always going to be a solution that allows you to still operate your business. So just continue to work on your channels. YouTube is the way of the future. If you're doing that, then you're going to be positioned better than anybody else in your market.
Yep. All right. All right. Well, I think we'll end it there. Thank you all. And Mike did say it is a word now. So
and it was. I looked it up. It is a word. So navigable.
Well, we didn't quite invent anything today, but we discovered for ourselves it's a word. All right.
There you go. Well, learning something new every day.
We'll keep you up to date when we schedule the next one. By the way, we've got Sub Club this Thursday instead of Thanksgiving week. So if you're part of our Sub Club, then we'll be doing that call on Thursday. And we will see you next time.
Bye.
Oh, one last call. Before we close out, make sure to go to backstage.passiveprospecting.com as well if you want to be a part of our 2-day event. We won't be doing anything in December, so November is the last chance, and we're gonna discuss what we want to do for 2024. But otherwise, November could be your last opportunity to run the 2-day event. Or to be involved in the 2-day event where we cover over 6 hours each day at minimum. That's the minimum. We've gone over the last couple of times, quite a bit, quite extensive on what to do in your YouTube business. So, oh, thanks. Maybe that's where Mike came from. Well worth it. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. So check us out. We're running one more in November. Go to backstage.passiveprospecting.com if you want to register, and then we will see you on the next training.
See you guys.